And it's showing record. So good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me today to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's take a moment to become present. So find yourself a nice, comfortable seated position, either on a block or a pillow or blanket. Nice and elongated back, long neck, so you can open up your diaphragm here for breathing. And close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes. For our intention this morning, you can think of a positive word or phrase to use on your mat or perhaps carry with you throughout the day. When I was working on putting together today's class and trying to come up with an intention, I couldn't ignore actually what happened this week in our capital. And what I focused on was the one shining moment during Wednesday's mayhem, when Congress courageously went back to business and certified the electoral vote once and for all, certifying that Joe Biden was the official president-elect. In Biden's speech in November, after our election, he said, "I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but to unify, who doesn't see red states or blue states, only sees the United States. This is the time to heal in America." I think about those words in the context of yoga. I think about the meaning of yoga, which is to yoke, to unite, to unify. I think about the science of yoga and how it promotes healing by whole body wellness, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So I'm looking forward to a leader who embraces the intentions of yoga, whether he knows it or not. And I think intrinsically Joe Biden might know them. So today's intention for me was, and you'll see this as the practice continues, is left, right, centered. And we're going to start with the pranayama of Nadi Shodhana. And we've done this before. And it's a technique that is used often for calming and just actually, if you have panic attacks, it's a wonderful one to use for that. But it helps to harmonize the left, the right hemispheres of the brain, balancing the logical and the emotional sides. When we do this particular pranayama, we employ a mudra that's called Vishnu mudra. And it's by using your hand straight out, bending your index finger and your middle finger so that you have your thumb, your ring finger, and your pinky extended. It's a little hard to do. And what you're going to do is take the thumb and press it against your right nostril. Inhale through your left nostril. When you reach the top of your inhale, you're going to bring your ring finger around and close that left nostril and exhale through your right nostril. And then you inhale, keeping your ring finger where it is. Inhale through your right nostril. Come to the top of the inhale. Close the right nostril off with your thumb and exhale through your left nostril. Inhale through your left nostril. Come to the top of the inhale, switch fingers. Ring finger goes on the left nostril. Exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. At the top of the inhale, close it off with your thumb. And you just keep switching your fingers back and forth. The key is when you reach the top of your inhale, it's time to switch fingers. So let's continue doing this for a few moments. And we're going to segue into a meditation, and you can actually continue to do the Nodi Shodhana pranayama if you want through your meditation. Sometimes it's practiced up to 15-20 minutes, just that calming technique for the breath. Or if you want to just go into your regular meditation, I would encourage you to employ the Vishnu mudra, because that mudra promotes balance, strength, and peace. So let's just take a few moments to do our meditation, and I'll meet you on the mat. You may open your eyes now, or get prepared to start our asana part of the practice. So I'm seated on a blanket and trying to lower my knees just a little bit lower than my hip creases right here. So you're welcome to do that if that's comfortable for you. We're going to start with our shoulder shrugs, to try to relax any tension that may have built up over the week. So just gently relax your shoulders, breathe into it, and make just small circles. You could go clockwise or counterclockwise to start, and it will reverse the position at some point. So just relax your shoulders. Take big inhales, exhales. And let's reverse the direction now. And then bring your hands to your sides. I'm going to gently lower our head, looking down to the floor, sending our gaze down. And then let's send our gaze up. And when you send your gaze up, only go as high as looking up at the ceiling, maybe at a 45-degree angle, so that you're not scrunching the back of your neck. So again, let's bring our gaze down. The deep exhale. Deep inhale, send our gaze up. Deep exhale, send our gaze down. One last time, inhale, sending the gaze up. And then come back to center. We're going to exhale, turning our head to the left to look over our left shoulder as gently as possible. Don't try to force it if it doesn't go directly over your shoulder. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, turn your head to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, turn to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, turn to the right. And come back to center. Take our right hand and place it on our left knee and turn to face the left side of your mat, bringing your left hand behind you and bringing it as close to your hips as possible to make your back nice and long and straight. Take a couple deep breaths here. Then keeping your right hand on your right knee, come back toward the center and then bring your left hand to your right knee and then flip your hands so that the backs of the palms are touching one another for eagle arms. So you're bringing the right hand, left hand coming centered. And if you're able to do that, you can bring the palms together to touch. And just relax your shoulders, relax your arms. And then release those. Bring your left hand to your right knee, bringing your right hand behind you, twisting to the right side of your mat, tucking your right hand up against your hips so your back is nice and long. Then keeping your left hand on your right knee, come back to center, bringing your right hand over and bringing it to the left knee. And then flipping your hands so that your hands are meeting together, uniting, back to back. And if you can bring your palms together for eagle arms. And just relax and breathe in. If you're feeling any tension, just kind of send your breath to any of that tension. If you're in pain, please release. We'll just move on from here in a moment. And relax your arms. We'll roll down onto the mat. So roll down slowly, one vertebrae at a time, until gravity takes over and rolls you down. Bringing your knees to your chest, give them a nice gentle hug. And then bringing your hands to wrap around your right knee. We're going to extend our left leg out to the bottom of the mat, but keep it elevated about 2 to 3 inches above the mat, so it's hovering above the mat. Flex your toes, toes pointing up to the ceiling. Your lower back should be against the mat, nice and snug in the mat. And then switch legs. Bring your hands over to your left knee, bringing your left knee to your chest, and then extending your right leg so that it's hovering above the mat. And then switch legs, bringing your right knee up toward your chest, extending your left leg, again, hovering it above the mat. Lower back is touching the mat. And bring your left leg back up, extend your right leg. Bring your right leg back up, extend your left leg. And bring your left leg up so that both knees are over your chest and give a nice gentle hug. Then push your knees away from you and let them create this right angle as if you're sitting in a chair. So they're just hovering in space, your feet are hovering in space, your knees and your ankles are at a right angle to one another. Then we're going to cross our right leg over our left leg as if you're crossing your leg in the chair. And you can put your hands, palms down on the mat to support you, give you a little bit of more stability. And then if it's available to you, wrap your right toes around the back of your left shin, and this is eagle legs. Then we're going to lower our left leg, one that's on top, down to the mat. So our right foot should be on the mat. The sole of our right foot should be on the mat with the knee facing up to the ceiling. And we're going to guide our right knee with our left hand down toward the left side of the mat for a spinal twist. Then bring that knee back. Bring both knees back to your chest. And then we'll do the one-legged extension hovering. So extend again let's start with our hands around our left leg, extending our right leg, hovering it about 2 inches above the mat. toes are pointing up to the ceiling. Lower back is snug on the mat. And then bring your right leg up to your chest and then extend your left leg down, switching positions. Bring your left leg up, extend your right leg down. Bring your right leg up, extend your left leg down. Left leg comes up, extend your right leg down. And then bring your right leg back to join your left leg and give both knees a nice gentle hug. And then push your knees away from your chest, creating that right angle with your legs as if you're sitting in a chair. Then I'm going to bring the left leg over the right. And if it's available to you, wrap your left toes around the back of your right shin for eagle legs. And then lower your right leg down to the mat. And then your left foot should be placed, the sole of your left foot should land on the mat with the left knee pointing up to the ceiling. And take your right hand and guide your left knee to the right side of the mat for a spinal twist. Inhale, bringing it back. And bring both knees back to your chest. Gentle hug. And then bringing your hands underneath your knees, right above your thighs. We're going to rock until we get to an upright position. So just kind of gently rock yourself back and forth until you get yourself back up to a seated position. We'll come up onto our hands and knees into tabletop position. Your wrists are right below your shoulders. Fingers are splayed out, and the weight is evenly distributed into your fingers, into both hands. The weight shouldn't be on your wrists. Knees are right below your hips. Navel's tucked to your spine, creating a nice flat back for tabletop. Then we're going to exhale, rounding our back, dropping our head and tailbone down into cat. Inhale, lift your head and your tailbone up for cow. Exhale, rounding your back, dropping your head and tailbone down for cat. Inhale, lifting your head and tailbone up for cow. And then continue at your own pace, using really deep inhales and exhales, synchronizing them to your cats and your cows. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. We'll come back to tabletop. Again, your weight is evenly distributed in both hands. Bring your knees together below you to center yourself. Knees are touching together. Then we're going to lift our right leg up, extending it to the back of the mat. And then focus on having your weight distributed evenly, you bring your right knee to your right elbow and then send it back again. So exhale, knee to elbow, inhale, bringing your leg back. Exhale, knee to elbow, inhale, bringing it back. Exhale, knee to elbow, inhale, bringing it back. Exhale, knee to elbow, bringing it back, and then lowering it back down to the mat. Again, bring your knees so that they're touching and they're centered underneath you. Hands, your weight is distributed evenly in both your right and left hand. We'll lift our left leg back. Then exhale, bring that left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Send it back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Send it back. Inhale, or exhale, knee to elbow. Send it back. And then lower your leg to the mat. Coming back to tabletop, we're going to lower our hips to our ankles, stretching our arms out in front of us. Come into child's pose. Bring your forehead or third eye down to the mat. Bring your hips as close to your ankles as you can. Really just stretch out your back. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under, then walk your hands back toward your feet, lifting your knees up, coming on your tippy toes to a squat. Pushing down into your feet, come up into mountain. We'll go through our mountain essentials. So your toes are pointing to the straight edge of your mat. Your feet are about hip width apart, maybe a little closer, whatever's comfortable for your normal stance. Legs are straight, strong, gentle bend in your knees. Navel's tucked to your spine. Your spine and the back of your neck are nice and long. You can tuck your chin in a little bit to create that nice length behind your neck. The top of your head, the crown of your head is reaching up to the sky. We're going to inhale, sweeping our hands up overhead. And exhale, come down into a forward fold, bending your knees, bringing your hands down to the mat. And just relax here for a moment, taking deep breaths, checking in with your body. See during our warm-up if anything became looser or more tense. Send deep breaths to any tension. And inhale, lifting up halfway to half forward fold, bringing your hands to your shins. Back is nice and straight and long. Gaze is out in front. And then exhale, bringing the crown of your head down toward the ground for forward fold. And inhale, sweeping your hands all the way up and overhead. Keeping your hands up to the sky. We're going to bring our feet, ourselves up to our tippy toes. And just wave here for a moment in palm tree. Bring our heels back down. Exhale, forward fold. Crown is reaching toward the ground. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, crown toward the ground. Inhale, sweep your hands all the way up and overhead, bringing them together up overhead. Arms should be alongside of your ears. Then bring your right arm down to your right hand to your right thigh and slide your right hand down toward your right knee for supported side stretch. Remember your breath, continue breathing. Inhale, come back up. Bring your right hand up to meet the left, then send your left down to your left thigh. Slide it down toward your left knee. And inhale, come back up. Bring your left hand up to meet the right. We're gonna do that again on each side. So bring your right hand down, slide it down toward your right knee. Nice crescent shape. And then inhale, bring the right hand up and bring your left hand down, sliding your left hand down toward your left knee. And then bring your left hand up to meet the right. And centered and come down. Exhale, forward fold. Crown toward the ground. Inhale, sweeping your hands up your legs to your shins, straight back for half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. And bring our hands to the mat and bend our knees and come into a squat position. So your hands are on the mat, you're balancing on your toes. And then, let's see, inhale, exhale. Exhale, we're gonna come back up to forward fold. Inhale, come down to squat. Exhale, back up to forward fold. Inhale, down to squat. And one last time, back up to forward fold. Sweep your hands back up overhead. And then bring your hands to your hips, so your fingertips are pointing down toward the mat. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Your chin is tucked gently to your chest. Feet are about hip width apart. And we'll just drop our shoulders back for supported back bend. Remember to breathe. And inhale, come back up. We're gonna do some, I was hoping it was be sunny, the weather forecast said it was, some sun salutations today, and I'm gonna tack on our peak pose at the end of it. And the sun salutation we're gonna do today is sun salutation B. There's an A, B, and a C version. So inhale, we're gonna start actually with sun breaths. So come into mountain pose, or mountain essentials, and inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands back down. Inhale, sweep your hands up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands back down. Now on the third one, sweep your hands up overhead, keeping your hands up overhead and then bringing them down in front of you. We're going to go into chair pose. So you're squatting down as if you're about to sit in a chair. You can see your toes. And then bring your feet, your hands down to your feet and come into forward fold. Inhale, sweeping your hands up your leg for half forward fold. And then bring your hands back down, forward fold, placing them on the mat and extending your feet to the back of the mat. Come into plank. Plank, your wrists are right below your shoulders. Fingers are spread wide apart. Navel's tucked to your spine, elevating your hips slightly. No saggingness, keeping them, you're kind of halfway to downward dog that way, but elevating your hips, extending your legs to the back of the mat, pushing your heels to the back of the mat, and then bring your knees down to the mat, bring your chest down to the mat, and your chin down to the mat. For knees, chest, chin, keeping your hands on the mat where they are, which should be right, your fingertips should be below your shoulders, hands should be close to your ribs, and then lift your head and chest up for cobra, pushing down into your hands to help support you. Tuck your toes under and come up into downward dog. Arms are nice and straight. Fingers are again spread wide apart. The weight should be in your fingertips. Chest reaching toward your thighs. Hips extended up to the sky. Keeping your knees bent. You could paddle out here. More like pedal out. And then we're going to bring our right foot between our hands. So bring that with a deep inhale, bring it right between your hands so your hands are framing your front foot. Runner's lunge. Your knees stacked over your ankle. Left leg is extended straight and strong to the back of the mat. And we're going to come into a high lunge. So you can do this in 2 steps. You can come up, lift up to your knee, and then up to the top part, raising your hands up to the sky. Or if you can do it in one movement, that's great. Find your stability and your strength here. And then lower your hands down to the mat. Bring your right foot back to meet your left foot, coming back into plank. Again, your hips are elevated up to the skies. And we're going to come down chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, your preference. Keeping your elbows tucked to your ribs for chaturanga. And then lowering your head, your cheek to the mat, and just rest here for a moment. You can keep your elbows pointing up to the sky or bringing them down to your side. Okay, bring your hands back to that position where your fingertips, hands are underneath your shoulders. Press up into cobra. Tuck your toes under, come into downward dog. Pedal out here for a moment. And then as you're pedaling, slowly walk your feet up to your hands. Come into forward fold. Come up into half forward fold. Hands sliding up to your shins. And then forward fold again, bring your hands down. Bend your knees so that we're coming into almost a squat, but your feet are firmly placed on the mat, the whole foot. And then come lift your hands up. So we're in chair pose. And then lift up overhead. We'll come back to mountain. And then for that peak pose tacked on to the end, we're going to do eagle pose. So if you have a block, you could use that. You can eliminate the leg part if you want. So one option is just keeping your left foot firmly on the mat and crossing your right foot over so your toes are on the mat. Or if you have a block, you can bring your block into play. So these are eagle legs. Bringing the right over the left. We're going to bring our right arm out and our left arm goes over it. We're going to bring the backs of our hands together, or if you can, bring the palms of your hands together. So the left and the right join together and center. And then we're going to bend down as if we're about to sit in a chair. So that is the full eagle pose. And if you don't want the block there, you can wrap your foot around your left shin. That's great too. Okay, and come back up. Take 3 more sun grass. So inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Exhale, bringing them down. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, bringing them down. Inhale, sweep them up, keeping them up overhead. Bend your knees and lower your hips down as if you're about to sit in a chair or chair pose. You're gonna have your hands up or in front of you, whatever's more comfortable. And then lower your hands to the mat for forward fold. Inhale, halfway up for half forward fold. And then lower your hands down to the mat, extending your feet to the back of the mat for plank. Again, tuck your navel to your spine, elevating your hips slightly. Bring your knees to the mat, your chest to the mat, and your chin to the mat. Keeping your hands where they are, elbows tucked to your ribs, push down, come up into cobra. Tuck your toes under, come up into downward dog. We pedal out here for a moment. Arms are strong, straight, chest reaching toward your thighs. Hips are extended up to the sky. And on a deep inhale, bring your left foot forward to between your hands. So your hands are framing the front foot, coming into runner's lunge. Knees stacked over your ankle. Right leg is extended fully, heel pushing to the back of the mat. Then we're going to come up to high lunge. So again, you can do it in 2 steps or push down and come up in 1 step, reaching your arms up overhead. And bring your hands back down to the mat. Extend your left foot to the back of the mat to meet your right foot. Back to plank pose. And here you can either chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. So chaturanga, you can keep your elbows tucked to your ribs and lower down. And then place the other side of your head on the mat. Bringing your hands back under your shoulders, elbows tucked to the side, push up into cobra. Then tuck your toes under, come back up to downward dog, and pedal out here for a moment. And then slowly pedal, walking your feet up to your hands. Till you reach your hands and come into forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold, placing your hands on the mat, bending your knees, coming into chair pose, reaching out your arms in front, and then bringing yourself up to mountain pose, and come down. And then the eagle on the other side. So, let's see, put the block on the other side, and you can use that or not. If you want to wrap your legs around, that's fine, but I like anchoring on the block. So left leg goes over your right. Right is your foundation. Left arm goes out. Right arm goes over it. Bringing the backs of your hands together. And if you can, bring the palms of your hands together. And then lowering your hips down into a seated position. Bringing the left side, the right side to the center. And it's the irony is not lost on me that this is eagle pose where we're bringing the left and the right together to the center. The eagle being our symbol. And then come back up. Well done, everyone. Alrighty. So, mountain pose again. Inhale, sweeping your hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Bringing your hands to the mat. Extend your feet to the back of the mat. Plank pose. And then quickly come down into tabletop. Come into tabletop with your hands, wrists right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips. Navel's tucked to your spine. We're going to do thread the needle. So you lift your left arm out to the side at shoulder height, and then sweep it under your torso, bringing it to the right side of the mat while you bring your left shoulder and your left ear down to the mat. You can keep your right hand on the mat or on your hips or up in the air, opening your chest, opening your heart. Then push down in your right hand that's not on the mat already, bring it back to the mat and push down, lifting back up to tabletop. And we'll do that on the other side. So sweep your right arm out to the side, shoulder height. Then sweep it underneath your torso, bringing your right shoulder and your right ear down to the mat. Left hand can stay on the mat, or your hips, or up in the air. And then inhale, bring your left hand to the mat, pushing down into the mat with your left hand, come back up to tabletop. Slide your legs out to one side of the mat and come into a seated position so that we can lower down to the mat again. So you can either one vertebrae at a time or use the express method by putting your hands underneath your knees and just rolling back. Bring your knees to your chest and rock back and forth, giving your lower back a nice massage. Place your feet on the mat, close with the heels close to your hips, Place your hands down alongside you with your palms facing down onto the mat for support. We're going to do a few supine cat-cows and then lift up into bridge. So in or exhale, maybe inhale, and round your back, lifting your pelvis up toward the sky, and then exhale, arching your back, bringing your tailbone back down to the mat. Inhale, rounding your back somewhat, your hips are staying on the mat, tilting your pelvis up. Exhale, arch your back, tilting your pelvis down. Inhale, round your back, tilting your pelvis up. And this time we're going to push down into our feet and lift our hips up off the mat for a low bridge. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, and really focusing on how each vertebrae meets the mat. Lower your back down to the mat. Then we'll do that again. So round your back, tilting your pelvis up. Exhale, arching your back, tilting your pelvis down. Inhale, rounding your back, tilting your pelvis up. Exhale, arching your back, tilting your pelvis down. And then inhale, rounding your back, tilting your pelvis up. And then this time, push down into your feet, lifting your hips up off the mat. Knees are parallel with one another. Don't splay them out. And then slowly lower your back down, one vertebrae at a time. And we're going to bring our knees to our chest. Give them a nice gentle hug. Open the arms out to the side, T shape at shoulder height. And then exhale, lower your hips to the right side of the mat. And gently turn your head to the left to look at your left fingertips. Inhale, lifting, rolling your head slowly back to center. Inhale, lift your legs back up to center. And exhale, lower your legs to the left side of the mat. And then gently turn your head to the right side to look at your right fingertips. Inhale, gently roll your head back to center. Inhale, lift your legs back to center. And extend your legs out to the bottom of the mat and prepare for Shavasana. So if you need any additional blankets or clothing to stay warm and comfortable, you do that now. Just relax your body, let go, let your feet flop open, relax your ankles, your knees, and your hips. Just let those go into the mat. Relax your chest and your shoulders, your arms, your hands, palms up are all relaxed, and let any tension go. Relax your shoulders and your neck and your jaw. Soften your eyes. Place a smile on your lips. And let the nutrients of today's practice soak deep within you. I have a poem by Dana Falls titled Yoga. Yoga is not about the pose. It's not the alignment of the toes or hips or shoulders. It's not about the form. Yoga is an invitation to explore, not a command performance. It speaks the language of the soul. In the flow of breath and motion, yoga coaxes us from the confines of the known, across the silent threshold into vastness. Yoga is the union of prayer and movement, guided from inside. It is healing and the joy of saying yes to life. Breathe, relax, and feel the body receive its own truth. The seed of freedom flowers within us whenever we are open to what's real. And when you're ready, you could start to wiggle your fingertips and your toes. Take a deep inhale and exhale, stretch out. Turn over to your favorite side and slowly make your way back up to a seated position.